I think unless you're doing 50 grand a month in revenue, you don't need an agency. First of all, obviously, we have an agency. We are an agency.
Yep.
So it's a bit odd for us to say that. But when we say most, I think unless you're doing 50 grand a month in revenue, you don't need an agency. What you need is clarity, first of all. Most of the time, if you go to an ads agencies, and most agencies are like this, they don't have the same goals for a kickoff. They will be charged on, or they will charge you on something like spend management. So they'll make more money the more that you spend, and not a lot of agencies are as align themselves like partners that we do. You know for a fact I hate the word agency because there's so many bad ones that are just out there to try to. Their goal is to turn your few $100s a day into a few $1,000s a day. That's their only goal. And they don't really care how they get there is the main point. Whereas if you're a coach and you're trying to scale, if you're a coach, a consultant, high ticket coach, a mentorship, whatever it is you want to call it, and you want to scale, you have to scale not just profitably, but predictably profitably as well. Otherwise, things really start to go awry. And the reason that you don't need an agency until you're about 100K a month in revenue is because you need to know and understand the fundamentals first. Mm-hmm. Like, first of all, you don't need an agency. If an agency is only media buying, they're completely dead. Like, that model is gone now. They are completely unnecessary. Agencies that only media buy, that is to say, they only press the buttons and you are making all the creatives and doing all the stuff, they're gone. Mm-hmm. Right then, and that's it. Like, agencies must be providing. If an agency is viable, then that's to say that you're doing at least 100K a month in revenue. They've got to be doing all of the media buying, the creative output, the copywriting, and then there's also like funnel services that they could do as well. But if you're at 50K a month in revenue or less, you need to get a grip of it yourself first, mm-hmm. because you need to know the clarity behind the numbers. You need to know what it is that scales ads and what that message needs to be so that you can competently judge them in the work that they're doing. Mm-hmm. And then also the offer has to be nailed as well. The absolute last thing that you want to do is have an offer that is unproven, meaning that you don't have a lot of customers in it. It's completely brand new offer, and then hire an agency at 5 to 10K a month, mm-hmm. and they're just rallying through their mediocre shit trying to get it to work.
That's why we've got a strict process, though, isn't it? Like, so we don't just take people on when we're running ads for people, even consultants when we're consulting for people, for that matter, because
that always surprises people when our service is on for sale. You can't buy our agency services; you have to apply. And it's for that reason.
No, it is right, though, because I mean, who wants to run a business where your churn's just so massive all the time? Yeah. Want to get results, you want to test, you want to find out that someone's got a proven offer, mm-hmm. and then we can apply our skill set to scaling. Mm-hmm. That's what it's about. Yeah. And like, going back to the whole agency thing, like if you just think about when we started consulting for Bill, he came with the mindset that there's no way this agency, classing us as an agency, is going to help us. Mm-hmm. And we ended up consulting with him because over a few kind of Zoom calls, we built up that trust, and we were kind of doing one-to-one things before we moved into a more monthly retainer for helping him. But it was because he'd been burnt in the past. And it goes back to what we've talked about in previous episodes about how you don't need this really complicated ad account structure. It needs to be simple. And I think that a lot of agencies try to make things complicated on purpose to make hide behind. That's a better way of putting it.
And they've done that for years as well. It's like we're just trying to find this vein of gold. We're just testing audiences. We're just testing interest. That's gone. Mm-hmm. That is gone now. Audience testing shouldn't be a thing that happens mm-hmm. in meta ads in 2025. It's completely dead. That should no longer be a thing that goes on inside of an ad account. What should be tested is messaging angles, creative concepts, that kind of thing, how you deliver cut through resonant message, how you become resonant, how you actually deliver your messaging. That's what should be tested. Audience testing, audience stacking, interest at like lookalike audiences. There's an argument that they could actually come back and do better because of the AI, but actually the AI has just outsmarted that side of the system that was originally built.
It's a crazy like conversation to have though, and I feel like we have a bit of an insight into what the big agencies are doing. Obviously, we work with a lot of high-ticket coaches, so we hear what's going on. Obviously, recently trying to grow our side of the business as well when we're hiring, and we've got a lot of people from big agencies trying to come to us, and we've got a real insight to what was going on. But what was clear to me was that I don't understand how there was such a disconnect between the person who was doing the media buying, someone else was doing the creatives, and someone else was doing the copy. Yeah. And you can see how disjointed it is. Yeah. So when we're auditing an account before we even take a high ticket coach on, or we do consultancy for people, that's why we have our process where we do an in-depth review to have a look if it is working. Because if you're an ads agency, you've got to have a handle on all those different areas. Yes. If you don't have a handle on all those different areas, there's going to be gaps or holes, and you're not only is it going to fail, if it's something does work, I don't want to say by luck, but if something does work, how do you scale it if you're not controlling all of it?
Yeah, and I think the goals are just completely misaligned. Yeah, like the overall agency's goal is to get you to spend more money, and then when you go into the big agencies, like you've just said, the media buyer's goal is to make the numbers look prettier. The copywriter's goal is to, if there's a separate copywriter, they're probably losing their minds themselves individually, thinking, what the hell am I being asked to do? But if they're good, their goal is to try and land on what they've been asked to do, which isn't specific to the results. Yeah. And the same thing for the creative, like graphic designers. If they are out of touch with ads, out of touch, they need so much guidance. They need so much focused briefing if they're not a direct response kind of graphic designer, that it becomes a complete misalignment, and it's like it reminds us of this is the weirdest visual analogy that I've got in my head, but it's because I've got a 3-year-old daughter. There's a film called Encanto, and the house is alive, and sometimes people are running and the floor like waves up and it knocks people over. That's what it's like. It's like trying to scale and just the floor is like moving under your feet, because it's like you're climbing the stairs and then it turns into a slide. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, just things get cut out from underneath you. And it's just, it needs to be, if you are the one doing it, and when we say you are the one doing it, if you're a mentor, business coach, whatever it might be, consultant, you doing it yourself means that you're going to know your numbers. You're going to know exactly what it takes to scale, what numbers you need to be at in terms of sales conversion rates, what your lead cost needs to be, what your CPA needs to be. You're not just going to blindly believe what this agency is telling you so that you keep paying them another month's invoice. You're going to know what them fundamentals are, and then you're also going to know, all right, you're going to be in the trenches with the messaging. And oftentimes, the coach is the person that informs the agency of the most information anyway. Like, obviously, we've got our deep processes, like the lighthouse process in terms of finding the right messaging, but the first bulk always comes from the business owner, the coach themselves, because they are the ones that know the avatar the most. Like, they know their customers best. So you'll know that, and then you'll also have tested the offers and the funnels and all the stuff that actually starts to work, so that when you do get to about 100k a month in revenue, and you start scaling the business and you start hiring different roles or whatever it might be, however you want to do, or maybe you just want to take more money. Like, that's good as well. But you'll be able to guide the agency better and actually see through if they are feeding you bullshit or not. And I think that's the key. That's a massive key, because most coaches want, and like, we talk about it quite often, we want that, what's referred to now as like a lifestyle business. Like, actually, money isn't actually the goal, it's the freedom, but money's like a prize at the same time. It creates that time and the freedom. Like, we've both got like young children. We want to spend as much time and make as much money as possible. And if you're not building a business with a goal of selling it, then you don't need to worry too much about, like, you're not making your EBITDA or your projections look fancy. So you've got all these goals that projections have to look a certain way. If you want a lifestyle business, life happens now. Like it's happening now. Like you don't want to bleed the business dry of profit, but you want to be able to take as much money as you can and enjoy your life. So you need to know your numbers. You've got to know what ticks on ads, and you've got to know what offers hit.
Going back to the numbers thing, though, it's the good old vanity metrics, isn't it? It's like, you've just got 100,000 impressions. It's like, but people do say that. So people
We've
still
improved our reach.
Yeah, we've hit reach. You've got impressions. People still talk about that, and it's super important for you, like for anyone who, as a high ticket coach, to control that. Like you need to be given the age. If your agents are telling you those things, you need to be look at. That is not with scaling metrics. These are scaling metrics, and they're the numbers you need to focus on. And as an agency, you've got to be able to advise on those numbers as well. You can't just say to people, right, okay, your CPA is this, or your lead cost is this. There's got to be, so this means we are going to do X, Y, and Z. There's got to be a follow-on process, and you've got to get involved in those conversations. Like, I almost feel like we go really deep when we're on our weekly client meetings or consultant meetings. Like how deep, like the way you get involved with the numbers and talk to people, it's incredible. And I feel like that's where a lot of the value comes from. People don't really care. They don't really care what's happening on the media buying side of things. It's the end result everyone's looking for, and they want to know that they're going to make money. Yeah,
absolutely. I think we always think of things before the click and after the click.
Yes.
And if your ads agency can't forecast your profitability, then they don't have enough insight. Like they've got to be able to know what's going on from a sales side, whether you've got a sales team, whether you're doing sales yourself, whether you're using like an offer doc, doesn't matter. You've got to know the numbers behind it all, so that you can forecast and say that, all right, if we spend this much, we know that this is going to happen. You've got to be able to see the chain of events that's going to go on. And most of the time, most ads agencies don't do that. They'll just forecast. If they'll make the numbers look pretty. Like if they present their metrics on a presentation, that's a big red flag. Like you do not do that. Like that's a giant red flag. Because what they're doing is they're trying to aesthetically make the numbers look prettier. So that it all seems positive and all that kind of thing. But actually, if you know the stuff yourself, then you know whether what they're saying is bullshit or they're on the right track. And it's actually, I think it's easier. Like when we say, I don't want to make it sound complicated, like you've got to learn how to do all these 3 different things. Like it's not as hard as you think. You've just got to know the numbers. We've got tools and stuff that we use that help to do things a lot easier. And doing the ads, again, you can get to 90, the most we've seen is 90 grand a day with one campaign. So you can get to them levels. Like you only need one campaign. It's a simplified structure. It is more simple than you think. It's just less about width and more about depth.
I'm glad you mentioned the before the click and after the click, because it's exactly how we structure our own coaching. So when we're consulting with people, like we actually structure it before the click and after the click. And if someone comes to you and says the Facebook ads are working, it's the funnel that's the problem, or then if you've got someone managing the funnel, they're saying, well, the funnel's optimized, it's working fine, that it's the ads aren't the problem. You need to be able to put a singular point where the bottleneck is. And we've, like you said, we've got tools. By the way, if anyone listening wants the tools, drop a DM on Instagram and we'll send you the meta ads dash cockpit that we've got for knowing your numbers. And what that does is it basically, when you start populating this document, this tool that we've made, it highlights where the bottleneck is. It'll show you if you've got an ads problem. It'll show you if you've got a funnel. It'll show you if it's before the click that's a problem or after the click. And that's how you scale and how you fix broken ad campaigns.
Yeah, definitely. So I think in terms of really grabbing the bull by the horns and taking the reins, what coaches doing less than 50k a month in revenue need is to know the numbers like the back of their hands. And again, we've got tools and resources to do that. Might find them in the description or whatever it might be. DM us on Instagram if you need to. You need to run your ads in a simplified structure. Only one campaign. Like, please focus on one campaign first. CBO campaign, we call it our Thunderdome system, but what it is a CBO campaign with your ad sets only organized by concept. So each ad set will be its own individual concept, whether it be the actual creative type or the messaging angle, the hook itself, whatever it might be. A quick tip on that, by the way, that we haven't talked about, is to always keep videos and images separate. So that's a really important one to remember. But make sure that your targeting is broad and only set by location, age, gender. And then let the algorithm decide where it's going to be. Because again, something that we touched on in the last episode, but didn't go too deep on, is the algorithm knows not just all of the other people that are in the mix or interested in what you're talking about, but it knows via the pixel who else's website it's been on, who else it has became a lead and downloaded a lead, like triggered a lead event on somebody else's funnel, bought a low ticket purchase on somebody else's funnel, watched a VSL on somebody else's funnel. Like, it knows all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So just getting out of the way of that and weaponizing it with concepts and doing flexible ad sets. So it used to be dynamic at the ad set level. Now it's at the ad level. Flexible format. If you've got a concept, upload 2 or 3 creatives, 2 pieces of copy, 2 headlines, all around that same concept, and then you're good to go. And organize your ad sets that way. Stick to one funnel as well. Like, don't get distracted by that shiny offer, shiny funnel, shiny object syndrome. Stick to one.
Give it time.
Yes, give it time.
Give it time.
And tweak the small things, like the headlines. Are you saying it simply enough?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the first half of your sales page, putting it into hemingwayapp.com, it's going to grade your language on what reading level it is. Make sure it's a maximum of grade 7. The lower, the better. But if it's above that, then there's easy fixes to be made by just reducing the reading level and make it easier to consume. So sticking to that one singular focus as well, knowing your numbers, simplified ad structure, going deep on ads with one campaign, and then sticking to that one funnel and one offer, you can get to, as we've seen, you can get to 90 grand a day in ad spend.
I think one of the things you touched on there about sticking to one campaign, but when you were touching on the ads and speaking about the ads, you've got to remember that if you're running ads, when you're talking about the pixel, if they're seeing your ads, they're seeing your competitors' ads.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And
you've got to keep that in mind. If they're seeing your ads, they are absolutely seeing your competitors' ads as well.
Yeah.
And people forget that.
Yeah.
People think that they're making the best ad in the audience, only getting served to them. They're not. Yeah. They're seeing your competitors' ads. So how are you grabbing their attention over them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think intention and attention are really important as well. Like, people try too hard to grab attention, and we've seen them transitional hooks where it's like, throw the water bottle up and do the spinning kick to grab attention.
Yeah.
Like, that'll only work if the following content kind of blends with it, but is good enough to hook and resonate as well. Like, a quote that I seen was, don't try as hard to grab attention, just pay closer attention to what your customer pays attention to.
Yeah.
So, like, making sure that you're going deep and resonating on the emotional level that's all you need to scale, not an ads agency that's going to try and bleed your business dry.
Thanks for watching the High Ticket Handbook podcast. If you want to see more content from us, make sure you hit the subscribe button, jump over to Instagram and give us a follow.